we now know each and every one of the 92 clubs that are in the current. So we now know which division each and every one of the 92 clubs in the English Football League are playing in next coming campaign. But what about what's going to happen in the future? 5 years' time. That's right. I'm going to hop into my TARDIS, jump forward into the future, and take a little look. That's right, folks. We're back once again with another video. Today, we're going to take a look at the EFL, all 92 clubs, and see which division they'll be playing in 5 years' time. That's right. Of course, what am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. If you know where you've been, smash your subscribe. And you want to subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, World Football. We're going to all here under one roof. That's right. I thought I'd take a little stab in the dark here and take a little look at what's going to happen into the future. 5 years from now, which divisions will your club be playing in 5 years from today? Well, what is that going to be? We'll tell you in just a second. Big shout out to the members and the patrons. You know who you are. So, of course, what we're going to do is hop into the TARDIS and jump into my tier list system, and this is it. We're going to rank each and every one of the current 92 clubs. All right, then, folks, we're going to start with, of course, in alphabetical order in the A's and work all the way down into the W's, of course. There might be a couple of little minor errors in regards to the alphabetical order, but for the most part, it should be as you would expect it. So we're going to start with everybody's favourite, Accrington Stanley. That's right. I don't see much movement in them over the next 5 years. In fact, I'd be quite surprised to see them in the division within the top 4 tiers at all, because they are one of the smaller budgets. They're always there or thereabouts with a struggle. They have dipped into League One in the past. And again, before we really take a deep dive into this does not mean your team will not go up or you know, this of course is where I think they'll be in 5 years' time. I do think they'll be in League Two or probably in non-league football. But let's kick it on forward, take a look at the next one, which will be Wimbledon. Of course, a strange one. It's AFC Wimbledon. Of course, fresh on the back of a promotion this campaign. I think they will flirt between League One and League Two over the next 5 years, but ultimately we'll be back in this tier, or at least we'll be at this tier when, of course, we revisit this video. There's Arsenal, of course, no surprises there. They should be in top bins, and I don't see any drama with them in the next 5, 10, or even 15 years. Meanwhile, they're joined by Aston Villa, of course, promoted within the last 10, and back in the top flight. Don't think they'll get the same mistake and dip into the Championship again. I think they're on the right track for a good long stint in the top division. Then we go with new to the scene, and it is Barnet. That's right, of course, fresh on the back of a promotion. If they keep their order in check here, they should be at least an EFL club for the near and not too far future. They still have got quite a good little squad for them coming into this division. They might even compete this campaign for promotion to maybe League One. Who knows? Then we have Barnsley, who, of course, have been in and around about the Championship League One for a couple of seasons. I'm not really excited about their current appointment with Conor Hoonahane, and that might bite them in the ass as well. Because if they do a sort of reputational damage in the next season or two, they might get stuck. They might become a traditional League One club. I do see them as a Championship club, but I just don't think they're going to make that transition and stick around to the Championship. They might get a promotion within the next year, 2, or even 3, but ultimately I do think they'll be back here when we come back in 2030. That's right. Kicking on forward, it is Barrow. Again, another club that could go down in the next few years. Again, a smaller budget, but we're punching a little bit above their weight last campaign. Again, they're a League Two side. I don't anticipate much in regards to promotions over the next 5 years, but we'll see. Then we have Birmingham City, of course. I did my current divisional prediction early door one. I don't think Premier League is on the cards next season, but I think the owners are on the right track here. They're excited. They're spending money. And I think if they can get a couple of good seasons under the belt in the Championship, they will be back in the Premier League. And I can actually see them being in there within the next 5 years and staying there, or at least getting in there in the last, promotion, and of course being there. Then I've got my Blackburn Rovers, of course. A lot rests on this, and I do believe if we get promoted, whenever that is, and I have gone a bit ballsy and think we were going to be in the playoffs next season, but if we do get promoted, we're going to stick around. I think we'll stay, and of course we could become not a force, but at least a regular. We won't become a yo-yo club. We'll get back, and if we get back, we'll stay back. We'll make sure of it. I think the Venky's got their own, who knows? Especially if the Venky's do depart, I think the fans will come back, and kind of a bit of a spring in our step will be there. So I do think If we get promoted, we will stick around. And of course, hopefully, get back to the glory years of the late 90s and the early noughts. Then we go to Blackpool in League One, currently under Steve Bruce. Again, if you watch one of my recent videos of the League One predictions, I do have Blackpool challenging for promotion in that video. So it does mean that they will probably get a relegation again between then and now. And again, a lot can happen in 5 years. Steve Bruce is the key to my decision that they will be challenging, but I don't think he'll be here at Blackpool in 5 years' time. A lot can change. Meanwhile, Bolton, first team I have in the Championship, confirmed. I don't know why there's a big gap here. Maybe there's somebody coming at you. Again, not necessarily the right man. I feel right now, Steven Schumacher. I think they'll make a better appointment, whether it's now or next season or who knows. But they'll be back in the Championship within the next 5 years. I can guarantee that. Meanwhile, there we go. Bournemouth, of course, punching well above their weight, doing great job at the moment. But again, they've got good coach at the moment, good recruitment. But something will go wrong in the next 5 years. I can guarantee that. And then they'll be back into the Championship and they'll be punching, or maybe they'll become a yo-yo club once again, be up and down. But ultimately, I do think in 5 years they will be in the second tier. Joining them will be Bradford City, of course, fresh on the back of a promotion last campaign, lastminute.com. The result there to get them into League One. They are, of course, a juggernaut of a club, sleeping giants somewhat, formerly of the Premier League, and of course with the fans back and that hoodoo off their back of that of now getting promotion. I do think they'll get another promotion within the next 5, and they could be maybe floating between the Championship and League One over the next 5 seasons. But yeah, ultimately being in this division. Next up we have a Brentford, another gap, so maybe someone's coming in here. Brentford, of course, Thomas Frank is not going to be there forever. He's done a great job for them, and as long as Thomas Frank is there, of course, Brentford, I think, will be in the Premier League. As soon as he leaves, someone's going to come in and try something a little bit different, and it's going to go wrong, and they're going to go down. And I do think that's not too far away. Meanwhile, Brighton of Albion, different kettle of fish here. They have dabbled with changing of managers. Graham Potter went. The other fella there, the Italian guy, he came in and did a wondrous job. Fabian Husler's now in there and still a great job. So they've shown that they can vacate managers and keep it right. Of course, you know, with Bournemouth as another scenario there, they lost Eddie Howe and they did go down, right? They did go down, and then Scotty Parker got back in, I believe. So, you know, yeah, so Brighton seem to have a good track record of replacing managers, and they're on the money right here, and I think they're going to be here for a good while just yet. Next up, it is Bristol City, of course, in the playoffs last campaign. Looks like Liam Manning is about to depart for Norwich. Who comes in? Question marks. But they're a steady Eddie Championship club. They're not going to go. They're not going to repeat the successes of last time around. I think they're going to be steady Eddie, safe as houses, and not going anywhere. Next up, we have Bristol Rovers. Of course, their brother from another mother from Bristol City. Of course, currently in League Two. I do think they'll get back to League One in due course. And I'd love to get them back in the same division as Bristol City, get that rivalry fired back up again. But ultimately, right now, just getting themselves back in the same track here. Bromley, again, a good club, back into the mixer here in League Two. I just think they need to concentrate in the next 5 years and stick around in League Two and not go back into non-league obscurity. Then we have Burnley in the Championship again. I'm not, you know, yes, I'm having a little poke at Burnley. But I'm just saying, in 5 years' time, they'll be in the Championship. They may be in the Premier League for the next 3 seasons, but ultimately, I think they'll be back here in 5 years' time. And of course, the changing of the tide will be in full effect. And of course, Lancashire will be blue and white yet again, and Burnley will be on the way to have a little bit of a 5, 10, 15, 25, 60 years of misery. It's coming, Burnley. Don't you worry. You can count it on your 6 bloody fingers. So there you go, enjoy that. Then we go down to League Two as Burton Albion, currently under the stewardship of Gary Bowie. Did a fantastic job to do the Great Escape last time around, and I think with him in charge, they'll be stuck in League One. Whether or not he makes a move, gets fired, or Burton decides something else, then they'll dip back down into League Two, and they'll be, of course, trying to keep up with the remaining guys there. Next up we go Cambridge United. Of course, they dabbled with League One for a couple of seasons. I think this is realistically their level. They can again bounce around between League One and League Two, I'm sure, but ultimately this is where I see them in 5 years' time. There's Cardiff, still in League One. They spent a lot of money. They spent a lot of money on wages over the past few years on a lot of players. I think they were on the top 6 wage spenders last season, and I think that's going to bite them in the ass over the long term. And if they can't get it right this time around, which they should, and they probably will, they could get stuck in here for a little bit. They could do a Sunderland, they could do an Ipswich, and be stuck in here for a little bit of time. It is, you've got to get out of this at the first attempt. And I think if they do get out of it at the first attempt, they'll be fine. They'll be in the Championship, and they may even flirt with the player with more than that. But ultimately, I just don't think they'll get it right this time, and they might be stuck here for a little bit because of the financial procurements that they're going to find themselves in this campaign. Charlton, of course, back down into League One. Of course, Nathan Jones, I think, is the answer to this, and he's done a great job to that. And don't get me wrong, I think they've got a chance to stick around in the Championship this season. But there will come another offer for Nathan Jones, and a chance maybe to move maybe to a Cardiff or a Swansea or a Welsh club, or even a Wrexham, perhaps, to, of course, get back to his homeland, and he'll take it. He'll take the offer. Charlton will then slump back into League One, and then who knows where they go from there. Then it's Chelsea. Can we talk about that? It's kind of a bit boring. Then it's Chelmsford down there in League Two. Again, they dibble-dabble in between League One, and I do anticipate them to get back into League One in the next 5 years, but ultimately can't see them punching much more than that either. There's Chesterfield, currently in League Two. They were a little bit hard done by to not get into those into the final of the playoffs. I think they'll get it right maybe next season or the season after. And then, of course, they'll be treading water in this division for a couple of seasons, I would imagine. Next up, it's Coventry. I did consider having them stick in the Premier League, but don't get me wrong, they're in the Championship in this graphic right here, right now, in 5 years' time. But don't get me wrong, I do believe they will taste the promised land within those 5 years. It's just not going to be this year in 2030, of course, or whenever the 5 years is, 2031 or whatever. I just think they'll be back in the Championship after a season or two in the Prem. Meanwhile, we got Colchester United, again, a club I want to see pushing up a little bit and under the Crowleys. I think they're on the right track, and I do think their promotion is not far away. So stick with that. You'll be all right. But of course, what happens after that, I do see them going back down to League Two again. Crawley again, just fresh off the back of relegation. I don't think they'll be back anytime soon in the League One, so they'll be there or thereabouts. Crewe as well, again, formerly of the Championship way back when, of course, renowned for their academy, but kind of stuck in a bit of a limbo land right here, right now, and ultimately, yeah, I'm not sure when that next promotion's coming for Crewe. Then we have Crystal Palace sticking around. They've got a lot of good talent, been doing great with the local recruitment, and of course, just finding the talent from around the world. They're in safe hands with Glasner. Glasner will get poached at some point, whether it's a Spurs, whether it's a Manchester United, whether it's a Chelsea or what have you. He will get poached, and he'll probably get poached within the next 18 months. So finding the right guy to take over the reins from then will be massive to keep them in this division, because they're an exciting team right now, Palace. And I'm excited to see where they go. John Eustace is Derby County. You know, what can we say about them? We can say, yeah, they're safe. I think they're safe as houses in this division. Will they compete for Premier League? Maybe. I think this next season is going to be massive, of course, getting past that season of potential relegation, getting that off your backs now, and then now getting a season of progression in the right direction. John Eustace is the right man to do that. You'll be fine. Will you make that top six push? I don't think so, but I think you'll cause some problems, give some headaches, and ultimately try to make that transition in the next 2 years or 3 years. But yeah, I can't see you getting in the Premier League at the moment, but we'll see. Doncaster Rovers are in League One right now. They might battle with the relegation again over the next 5 years, but ultimately I think they'll be in this division as well. Everton, again, new stadium just around the corner. Exciting to see where they go, but I do think they're not going anywhere with David Moyes at their helm. Of course, they've been flirting with relegation for the past few seasons. Last season, of course, they made the decision early doors to get rid and bring in Moisey, and I think they should, keep ahead of the curve, ahead of the wave, and they'll be all right. Exeter City, currently in League One. I do see them dropping down into League Two at some stage. So unfortunately, that's not the right bit of news for you guys. Fleetwood Town, again, not too long ago, were in League One, but they've been stuck in a rut here in League Two. And I don't know. I'm concerned about these guys. They didn't show much fight there. I think Pete Wild's in the helm there. Good coach, maybe a full season. He might surprise me, but ultimately, I don't think they're going to go anywhere near promotion to League One in the next 5 years. Then we go to Fulham again, doing great. Marco Silva's been the massive breath of fresh air. They were a bit of a yo-yo club for a good bit, but now they've been have some stability under their wings. Maintaining that stability is massive. They've got some good talent as well. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near relegation next season, so I think it should be good moving forward. We've got the Gills back in League One, of course. Gareth Ainsworth is notorious for getting grinding out wins, grinding out points. He had a good campaign for Gillingham at the back end of the season. I think this season they'll be competing for the top end, and then of course sticking around in League One will be massive for them moving forward, and hopefully they can maybe even flirt with a push for the championship. But ultimately, 5 years they'll be here in League One. Meanwhile, Grimsby Town again. I'd like to see them pushing up the EFL footballing ladder, but I can't see them really making many strides in the next 5 years. So ultimately, sticking in League Two. Then we have Harrogate Town again, another club that could be in non-league at this time. They're always flirting or having some sort of season of wobble, and ultimately they just don't have the class at the moment to be knocking on the door for those playoffs. Hopefully, proven wrong, and they'll be in the mix over the next 2 or 3 years. But right now, they're going to be stuck here for the foreseeable future, if not non-league oblivion. Huddersfield Town, interesting one here. Did somebody write a comment to me in one of my videos that they've made an appointment or not? But it has. Actually, has it been Lee Grant? Has just been named. Again, that's a gamble. It's a gamble. Guy coming out of here, limited first team managerial experience, if any managerial experience. Interesting call. Could be a phenomenal move, could be a disaster stroke, but ultimately I just don't think it's going to have the legs for longevity. And again, like I said at the start, not saying that Huddersfield will not taste the championship in the next 5 years. I just think in 5 years' time they will be in League One. Meanwhile, they are joined by Hull City. Their owner is a little bit of a wildcard, a little bit of a maverick. And again, as of recording, they're about to make a plunge for a manager unknown to the English world, but of course got a bit of a success rate on the Eastern European footballing world. But ultimately, they were a little bit dicey last season. Made a drastic call. The owners there on Ruben Sellis, who I think is a phenomenal coach. But ultimately, this one, I think Hull City are going to be one of my surprises. There are a few surprises in here, Blackburn Rovers being one of them. But yeah, Hull City, I think they'll be in League One in 5 years. Ipswich Town will still be in the Championship, or maybe they'll be again a yo-yo team. I'm getting a lot of chat right now, or a lot of people's opinion thinking Ipswich will be number one next season. I don't know if that's the case. We'll see. Leeds United remaining in the Premier League. That's good news for them in the next 5 years. They've got the fan base. Hopefully they don't. And again, I can actually see them making a Nottingham Forest or an Aston Villa. They're bouncing back now. Hopefully they'll make the right decisions here to become a top 10 club over the next 2 or 3 seasons, and then maybe bring back the old glory days of Leeds. Then we have Leicester City. Again, right now, as of recording, there's decisiveness or undecisiveness on who's going to be the new coach. It looked like it was Russell Wilson. Now that looks like it's been binned off. Danny Roll could come in. Who knows? So a lot of question marks and concerns about Leicester. And again, that might be a problem that they kind of need to get figured out, really, if they want to know where they're going to be playing their football in the near future. So Leicester City into there. We have Leyton Orient, of course, unfortunately, playoff heartache for those guys. Just the one goal separated them between the Championship and League One. Ultimately, I don't think they're going to get that opportunity to come back into this again. I think they're going to be struggling mid-table, League One at the best of times, and they might even have a couple of League Two relegations in the next 5 years. So we'll see about that. Meanwhile, we got Lincoln, again, a team that would be another one of those clubs that you would like to see push on into the Championship. Lincoln got a good fan base as well, and a good size, good area in the country, and they could do with Championship football. The Imps, something that I don't even know when they were at the second tier, so it will be some good something. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to make that transition anytime soon. Then we have Liverpool, no problems there. Luton Town bouncing back, currently from in League One on the back of back-to-back relegations. Will they get it right first time? I don't know. I think they might take a couple of seasons again. League One is a bit of a nasty little playground of clubs, and when you look at the current 24, it is a bit of a wild, wild west out there. You don't know realistically what kind of Luton will show up. Is Bloomfield the right guy? Who knows? But I do have them bouncing back in the Championship within the next 5 years and sticking around. Then we have Manchester City. They could actually be relegated. Who knows? We got Manchester United again. They were close to relegating. You know, they were, but they weren't. Again, I don't see any problems with them. They'll get it right. Mansfield Town, of course, currently in League One. I do see them dropping down into League Two. Again, over the next 5 years. Middlesbrough, I've got them stepping up to the plate. Whether it's under Carrick, who knows? I think the next managerial appointment, whoever it will be, will get it right for Middlesbrough, and then they will be in the Premier League. Whether that is, again, get up within the next 2 seasons and then stick around, I don't know. But I think, and then, of course, come back again, like a bounce back. I think that's what if I was in charge of Middlesbrough, if I was a Middlesbrough fan, I would want Carrick out and get somebody like a Gary O'Neill, Stevie Cooper, because both of those two guys, if they came in, either one of those, Middlesbrough will be promoted, no problems. Of course, especially with an owner that they have who seems to want to spend a bit of cash. So I think Borough will get up there, and of course, hopefully they'll compete in the Prem as well. Meanwhile, Millwall, again, difficult one, Millwall. Again, I'm not ruling out them ever playing in the Premier League. I just don't think it's going to happen in the next 5. And again, I think it's just keeping steady. I do see them as a similar club to that of Luton. If they were to get promoted, they might only stick around for a season. And then they could actually bite themselves in the ass by doing just that. Meanwhile, we've got MK Dons making this push from League 2 to League 1. Paul Warne's the right man there. He's going to get it done, whether it's next season or season after. They're in the right hands, so MK Dons will make that swish, and of course they'll be in the same division as Wimbledon. Meanwhile, we've got Newcastle, no change there. We've got Newport County, of course. Again, another team that doesn't really scream promotion to me at this moment in time. So I do think they'll stick around in League 2 without too much fanfare. Northampton Town making a downgrade from League 1 to League 2. I think that will happen again as well in the next 5 years. Cream does always rise to the top, my friends, and unfortunately Northampton Town will be going to League 2 within the next 5 years. I have Norwich making the push, whether it's Liam Manning, get it right. No, don't get me wrong. Now, Liam Manning has got a track record of getting teams in the playoffs. He did it with MK Dons. I believe he did it with Oxford. He's done it now with Bristol City. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not necessarily promotion on all accounts, but he's got a good track record. I do think he will get Norwich. You probably bought himself 2 years, I'd say, with Norwich. Especially if he has a good, strong first season, top 8, top 6, gets in the playoffs. He's probably got another season in the back burner right there. So whether they get promoted in the next 2 and stick around, that's fine. But yeah, I see Norwich back in the Prem within the next 5. Whether, again, Manning's in the helm or not, who knows. We got Forest making a step backwards, of course. And again, a lot of Forest fans will be on the case about this. I just think that they will, they'll have a good crack of it. But they might go a little bit gambly. The owner does look like a bit of a madman, bit of a wild card, and he might bite off more than he can handle, and ultimately, spend a bit too much money and feel the pinch when it comes to it, and ultimately they'll have to balance the books, points deductions, all that kind of mess. So Forest, just be careful what you wish for, and I do see them back in the Championship within the next 5 years. Then we have Notts County. I did consider pushing them up the table a little bit here, but ultimately, I just don't see it. We have Oxford United sticking around in the Championship. They might dip down in between League 1 and the Championship, but ultimately they'll be in the Championship in 5 years. I have Peterborough making the push from League 1 to the Championship. Darren Ferguson and Peterborough, sort of a match made in heaven. Will he still be there in 5 years' time? That's a good conundrum. I don't know, but they've got a great work ethic they have over in Peterborough with the current owner, finding the gems, selling them on for good money, and reinvesting into the squad. So they got a good ethic, and they ain't no strangers to Championship football, and they'll be there or thereabouts again, in my eyes. I've got Plymouth still in League 1. Again, they might be up in the Championship for a couple of seasons and then make a dip as well. But looks like, as of right now, Muram Muslic, or whatever his name is gone. But there are some big names being touted for Plymouth, and it's a good club to be at. Good part of the country, and good fans as well. Yeah, League 1, I think. I have Port Vale sticking around in League 1. Again, they might dip between the two. Portsmouth also still in the Championship. Maybe. I can't see them making a push to the Prem right now. I think they're just happy and just got to kind of keep it a steady ship. We have Preston down in League 1. Wow. That's right. Paul Heckingbottom did wonders last time around. And then right here, the talk is of a bit of a rebuild for Preston. Maybe they'll they'll gamble a little bit too much and get found out. It's a solid old looking division is the Championship, and they weren't far off of it going down. And when you look back at it, Luton, Cardiff were kind of a bit of a surprises to get relegated. I think Preston might get found out. And again, once you get stuck into that League One, you've got to get out of the first attempt. And ultimately, I think Preston may end up there, whether it's next season or the season after. Again, and Heckingbottom, I like him. Who comes after Heckingbottom? That's the question. And again, if they get off to a bad start, they might make a change already. And then who knows you get. QPR I've also got down here. Again, they've been struggling over the past few years, and I think the kind of novelties worn off a little bit with QPR. They're great with Kofientes, who's in charge nowadays. I think they were listed to that Torrot fellow who was at Norwich. That does sound a little bit exciting. But getting the appointment right, massive. But yeah, I think the foundations are not good at the moment at QPR, and they're about to lose Dunn, I think, the backman, who is massive for those guys. Then we have Reading making the push from League One to the Championship. They've got new owners, I believe. Noel Hunt's done a great job, just missing out last time around. I don't necessarily think Noel Hunt's the guy to get them promoted, but again, if they were to make a decision in the next couple of seasons about the coach, I think they'll get it right, and then they'll get it over the line, and they'll be back to where I think they belong in the 92. Then we have Rotherham still in League One, not really blown away with what's happened in the last year. Steve Evans came in, a lot of players came in, and ultimately they kind of sucked ass last time. And right now, the new appointment, Hamshaw, is it? It doesn't reek of optimism or excitement. So I think they're kind of just settling for kind of seeing if they can do it with limited resources. So ultimately not good. Salford, I've got them. It was a last minute change. I have them making a push up from League 2, League 1. They've been knocking on the door for the playoffs for the few seasons. I think kind of like Bradford. Once they get over the line, they might start to progress up the footballing ladder. Salford, of course, in and around that Manchester area, or is Manchester. And of course, trying to get themselves in the mixer here, of course, with the big boys. And don't get me wrong, they've got a good fan base, and it'll be an exciting prospect to see them punching in League One and of course Championship, but it's going to be a steady old ship. Once they get promoted though, who knows? The sky's the limit. Sheffield United sticking in the Championship. I've just read something about Chris Wilder could be out. Again, if they do decide to change that, what happens? Who knows? Sheffield United might be fresh off the back of a relegation here in this one, so it's not necessarily they're not going to play in the Premier League in the next 5. It's just they are going to be here in 5 years' time. We've got Sheffield Wednesday down in League 2. Balmy. Now, of course, they're not no strangers to League One. They're not. And of course, other clubs who were once Premier League and once Championship, steady Eddies regulars, have dipped down to League 2. Blackpool, one of them. Portsmouth, another one. I think Coventry. Did Coventry go down that far? I'm not too sure. But anyway, it's not a surprise. It's not a major surprise, especially when you think about the owner. He does seem to be, Rovers have got badass owners, and like badass and not in a good way, like terrible owners. Sheffield Wednesday have a notoriously bad owner. And right now, I fear for them as I fear for Blackburn Rovers. And I think there might be an ownership change or an administration kind of thing, and Wednesday might have to take a pinch and go down to League 2 in the return of coming back stronger, bigger, and then of course challenging once again for the rights for Sheffield and beyond. So yep, that's one of my major surprises in this 5-year time jump. Let's go forward then. They're joined by Shrewsbury, who are there right now. No change there. Southampton still sticking around the Championship. Again, could be a bit of a yo-yo club. I'm excited for them, for Will Still. Kind of get Miss Crack in the English game. And they should be there or thereabouts this season. Just whether or not they get over the line and stick around in the Prem. I don't know. Then we have Stevenage, of course, relegated in my eyes next season or the season after. And of course, trying to bounce back will be difficult. We have Stockport County making the transition from League 1 to the Championship. Of course, a little bit heartbreak last time in the playoffs. But maybe they'll get it right this time. Be hot off the heels of chasing down those Wrexham fellas that they've kind of created a new rivalry over the past few seasons. Meanwhile, Stoke, going down. Don't get me wrong, I think Mark Robbins will do a great job for them, and they might even dabble with the playoffs and maybe more than that. Who knows? I think Mark Robbins is the right man. Will he be there 5 years? No. They may take a couple of, they might get, I think that my story or my scenario with Stoke is they'll get close, maybe with Robbins, might get a little bit greedy, try and go a little bit more, bring in a Chris Wilder or something like that, maybe overspend, overcommit, get relegated, and then there they are in League 2. Sorry, in League One. League Two, though, could be a scenario. Meanwhile, we got Sunderland. Again, they are in the Prem right here and now, and kudos to them for doing that and doing it their own way. Yeah, and I think they are going to have to do things the right way, and I anticipate them begrudgingly, because I just knew when they came back to the Championship, it's just like Birmingham City. I think Birmingham City now, whether it's next year or the season after, they are going to be sniffing around playoffs and promotion pretty dang soon. They've got the owners there, they've got the bit between the teeth, and they're going for it. And Sunderland now, hopefully, will learn from the Lutons, will learn from the Leicesters and Ipswich, and try and get it right. If they can get it right, they might become a steady Eddie, like a Brentford or like a Brighton, etc., etc. So Sunderland, I'm happy for them. A little bit jealous, in fact, very much jealous. But anyway, Swansea. Yeah, I got Swansea coming in there. Of course, Modric is part of the new ownership team out there. They've made a good move with Alan Sheeran. Again, it's. I'm not guaranteeing playoffs or anything next season. I think they're moving in the right direction. Are Swansea within the next 2 years, 3 years, they'll get it right and they'll be back in the Premier League. Whether they're not steady Eddie, I don't even know. But I'm going to go Swansea into the Prem. And, of course, in the mix of the highest-ranked Welsh team. Or are they? Well. I've got Swindon again. Mate, I want to push them a little bit higher, but I can't really justify it at the moment. I've got Spurs still in the mixer right here, right now. That's no question. I have Tranmere making the push from League 2, League 1. New owners, I think, or very, very close to being new owners. I think Rihanna is part of the ownership thing there. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. So I've got them there. Walsall, again, heartbreak hotel for them in the playoffs this season. And then we go forward with Watford, that's right. Tumultuous owners, bit of a ludicrous call, getting rid of Tom Cleverley. They might, and again, they pulled a guy out of nowhere that we don't really know much about. That come a biting in the ass this season. And again, they could do a Sunderland, could go to Ipswich, and of course might even go into League One oblivion. Who knows? So I've got them down there. So maybe a bit of a surprise for some, but we'll see if I'm right or wrong. But Watford down to League One. Then we have West Bromwich Albion still sticking in the Championship, and I got West Ham in the Prem, which does complete the Premier League pack. We've still got a few clubs out there, including Wigan Athletic making the step up from League One to the Championship. Of course, tumultuous owners as well, but they brought in Ryan Lowe. I'm excited for those guys and Ryan Lowe. He's a Northwest kind of manager, and he did an okay job with Preston. And I think he'd do all right with Wigan. Yeah, of course, the season just gone. It was a steady pair of hands. Got them in good shape as well. Got Wolves into the Championship as well. A lot of ins and outs and talk about players leaving and going here at Wolves right now. And again, I think they were flirted with the relegation last time around. Ultimately, I think they'll get bitten in the ass within the next 5 years. I think they'll be back into the Championship once again. As will Wycombe Wanderers. Well, Wycombe Wanderers will be back in League One. They'll remain in League One. They might even dip down into League Two. Who knows? I'm not a big fan of Mike Dodds. I don't think they're in right hands there. And I think they will struggle next season. And they could end up being relegated within the next 2 seasons and they'll be stuck in League Two. But I've got them here in League One. So who knows? And then I do have Moneybags FC, Temple FC in the Championship. Now, again, 5 years, a long time in football. They may reach Premier League football within those 5 years. I think it is a company. They're going to be completely chalkish. And then who knows? Who knows? The Ryan Reynolds factor and the McAhenry fella might not be there at this point. They might have gone tired with it. And they might have reached Premier League and they might have just pulled the plug. But I do think they'll be in the Championship. It is a tough old game. It looks like they are trying to spend a bit of cash now, bringing some veteran Premier League players in to get over the line. But that, my friends, is where I think Wrexham will be. Finally, of course, we have the returning Oldham Athletic. Happy to have them back. Whether they get followed up with another promotion, that's going to be a tall order. Don't get me wrong, I think they could probably reach League One within the next 5 years, but ultimately they're probably going to be punching above their weight at that point. It's just happy to have them back in the Football League, and hopefully they'll kick on after that. But there you have it, folks. Take on the future over the next 5 years. Do we agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down below. Where do you think your club will be in 5 years' time? Do you have the right owners? Do you have the right manager? Do you have the right players, of course? Let me know your opinions of your own club down below. And I'll look forward to seeing those replies. And of course, I'll reply to them as, of course, you well and do as well. Until then, see you soon. Subscribe, smash the like, catch you later.